Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Oh my god, it's
Wonderful.
magical.
Skype is the worst piece of software in the world. Seriously, we have to use it for work, and I hate it so much.
I feel like I should just be insulting you instead now that you've installed Skype.
Well, if you love Skype so much, why don't you go and marry it?
Maybe I am.
All right, you do that, and then
Okay.
you'll be in a marriage with something that never works and is shitty. So have fun with that.
So basically, I'm dating a stoner at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Okay, so thank you to our new followers, Zed Merck, KL5559, Dakesy3211, PBNJ303, and Retro B. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the support. I will turn up Requine, don't worry. Oh god, I turned up your volume and now all I hear is static.
Well, how is my voice? Test, test.
It should be fine. And in the meantime, I get to eat. Are you able to spectate the game via me?
I will once it starts, since Champ's left right now.
Alright, so pick some bands. We have Cassidon, Mundo Thresh ban, and then a Vi Malphite Nautilus ban. Ooh, I haven't seen Nautilus or Malphite banned in a while. So then, blue team has Nami, Volibear, Wukong, Caitlyn, and Scion. I'm interested to see where those people are going. I'm assuming it's Wukong mid, Scion top? Because Scion, at the moment anyways, is running Ghost Exhaust. Anyways, that's going to be versus a Taric Vayne bot lane, an Akali jungle, a Shen top, and a Xerath mid.
I am wondering if purple team anticipated a Yasuo to be busted out due to all those champs have knockups.
It's definitely possible. Oh, okay. Apparently, according to chat, Scion is going mid.
Interested to see Akali in the jungle. I have seen it before and it worked, but something can work in the jungle and being efficient in the jungle is a whole other ball game.
It's true, yeah. It's interesting, though, because to me it's kind of the same idea as a Yi jungle, where you're not actually so much jungling as you are just showing up to kill steal someone.
Which is fine. I mean, in China, they actually had Leona go mid, and they would pick Nocturne, Akali, basically someone Fiora in the jungle, someone who can just walk up and take kills.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they played for a lot of season 2 and 3. So it's definitely a valid strategy. Having a fight jungler does give you a lot of map presence.
Oh, I completely agree. That being said, it makes me sad because I'm so used to the I'm mid, you are a tank who just is a CC bot so that I look good. That was all of last season, so now it's just like, ugh, you mean I have to do work?
I really enjoyed the preseason changes where every single member of the team has a strong role, and it's no longer the ADC is a ticking time bomb that top and jungle need to coddle and protect and carry around in a stroller. Now ADC is kind of 1/5 of the team, and top and jungle are really starting to shine.
Yeah. That being said, being 1/5 of the team and being like completely reliant on 3/5 of the team in order to do your job is a very frustrating situation for AD carries to be in.
I personally don't have a problem with it because I play support a lot, so that's kind of a natural state for me, but I know a lot of ADC mains who are mad as hell about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am spectating, so loading in just as you are.
Yay. So yeah, someone was mentioning in chat that they don't think Wukong is any good mid. Wukong is amazing mid, but you take him versus squishy mid lane mages, essentially. You pick them versus, like, Lux, Katarina. Xerath would be a pretty easy matchup for Wukong, except for the fact that Xerath lands very easy stuns at melee range. It gets really, really frustrating. But yeah, Wukong is very, very good at dealing with low armor, squishy mages who kind of just need to just play a farm lane.
I think it's interesting to discuss what makes a good top champion versus what makes a good mid champion. And I think the biggest thing you'll see is that a mid champion has to be able to roam and effectively pick up kills from both top and bottom. They need to be able to deal with the short, the short busy lane that mid is. And they need to actually make the presence to the other two lanes worthwhile. So Wukong, Fiora, I think those champions, for instance, fill all the requirements. Someone like Renekton, I'm not 100% sure. I feel like it's more worthwhile for those champs to go top.
For me, a lot of it is the distance of the lane. As a mid laner, you need to be able to kill someone before they can get back to their tower. So you're a bursty champion, or you have an incredible amount of CC. I can't think of a single mid champion in the game who's still considered viable, who, if ahead, cannot kill you before you get to your tower. Whereas top lane, it's so much longer to chase, so you need things where it's like constant engages, trading power, low cooldown repositions, things like that are very, very powerful there, where essentially you can never push them out of lane. But in mid lane, those champions are just kind of like, I make you waste your resources, but none of us can kill each other.
Right, I think that's an excellent way to put it. Basically, if you can't 100 to 0 someone in mid lane, you're kind of in a pickle. Especially because the lane demands you get fed. It's not enough to just passively CS. You kind of have to get some kills. You kind of have to help the other lanes out.
For sure, yes.
The bot lane, I think, is going to be extremely interesting to watch. We have Vayne and Taric versus Caitlyn and Nami. And I have a feeling that if Vayne doesn't play 100% correctly, Caitlyn's just going to take a dump all over her.
Yeah, Caitlyn is always known as the counter to Vayne, or it used to be. Now, of course, you have more aggressive early game characters that just kind of do the same job, but with a little less reliability. So like Draven was a really, really strong Vayne pick for a while because you'd literally walk up level 2 and kill Vayne. Whereas Caitlyn is just like, haha, I'm poking you, you can't come near farm. And now it's more about just like killing them level 2 and 3 and not letting her get back into the game.
Right, back in the heyday of Vayne, during late season 2, I actually had a rune page called Balls to the Wall AD that was nothing but flat AD runes. Oh, we have the game paused right now. I assume someone disconnected. Oh,
It sounds likely, yes.
So that flat AD page was basically dedicated to shutting down Vayne. And it's not really worthwhile anymore, but Vayne in late season 2, season 3 did demand that sort of boot to the throat response.
Mm-hmm. I am so excited. This is going to be Wukong mid. I'm like 80% sure. Because Sion has gone double rejuve bead. So I can't see you taking mid Sion and going AD and double rejuve. That being said, Wukong has opted for Doran's Shield for mid. I usually go Flask on mid Wukong because he is very mana hungry. You need to have enough potions to win every trade, where it's I might have technically lost that trade, but I can do it again 10 seconds from now, and you're going to continually be lower health than me because I have potions.
Wukong is an interesting champ because he's just a one-man kill lane.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of also, once he's in, he has his decoy, but he's very balls to the wall. Once he's in, it's a little difficult for him to get out again. A Wukong that doesn't get fed in lane is a Wukong that is going to have some serious problems.
For sure. Now, both supports have not gone for Doran's Shield. Taric, I would say, definitely Doran's Shield, because both Nami and Caitlyn are very large auto attackers. That's what they do. They zone you and poke away at you with auto attacks. So, from my standpoint, Taric absolutely 100% should be running Doran's Shield. On the flip side, Nami has opted for a Fairy Charm. Fairy Charm, 2 wards, 2 health potions, 2 mana potions. That's sort of a season 2 build where it was really, really popular for a while, and then people finally realized, no, wait, full consumables give you more regen than a regen item. And so then it kind of fell by the wayside. But if you're not going to start Doran's Shield, and you're not going to start Pink Ward, then why are you not starting Gulper 10?
I talk a lot about making choices in the game based on what feels good. For instance, a spell combo that does a lot of upfront burst feels better than a damage over time combo that will technically take away more health. And I think going for a full rejuve start is a good example of that. It doesn't feel good to spend money on stuff that's going to disappear and not give you what seems to be a leg up. But on the other hand, it does give an advantage. It can't be ignored. So even though it seems counterproductive, it's definitely worth considering.
I also have a concern with how Wukong just played this mid lane. He was playing very, very passively, and he let Xerath hit level 2 first. You want to hit level 2 first on Wukong because that's your combo. The second you hit level 2, you E onto them, auto attack, Q, auto attack, and you can usually land a kill, or at worst case, you get about 60% of their health, and maybe their flash. And then you do the exact same thing at level 3. You always want to be ahead in experience, and right now he's not. He's letting the wave push towards him, and he's behind in experience, and that's going to hurt him.
Shen is up on top, survived a gank from both Sion and Volibear, which is impressive when you consider Sion and Volibear's kits. And the sustain is allowing him to just stay in lane and get some XP and not really lose that much from even that gank.
Yes, now that being said, he's just watching it here. He seems to be missing every last hit on turret. Oh, he's going to go down. His taunt was a little bit late, so he didn't taunt Sion in turret range, and then he just sort of face tanked while exhausted and wasn't able to get the last hits required. Advice for Shen would be practice last hitting in a custom game a little bit, figure out how you're going to last hit under turret, even plan ahead for it. We're looking at the minion wave. Okay, this one needs to be prepped, this one's fine, that sort of thing. Akali tries to counter jungle Volibear. That seems like an unwise decision to me. It's because she lost her red to Volibear, but that then means Volibear is up even more experience and you're going to go fight him at his buff? That seems really bad.
Right, part of counter jungling is the belief that if you run into the other person, you'll be able to, at the very least, escape, if not kill them. And Akali versus Volibear, that's a very dangerous bet to make.
Mm-hmm. And then she just keeps trying to go back in there, because from her standpoint, oh, if I don't have red, my jungle's over. Well, you could farm. Yes, you're not going to be ganking without it, but you can at least do something worthwhile, rather than just walking in where you know they are, and dying.
Season 4 makes junglers a lot less reliant on buffs. Of course, you still want to secure your buffs, but in Season 3, if you took Blue away from Amumu at level 1, that was game over for him, essentially. And now you can farm the little camps and get caught up. But people really have anxiety. They see their big buffs losing, and they see they're a level behind, and that really shakes them. And it makes them, make decisions based off anxiety, not what's actually best for their gameplay.
Mm-hmm. Volibear coming in behind. This should be a kill. Oh, I don't know. Wukong definitely didn't need to flash there. Okay, it is going to be a kill, though, because the flash is down. They have the slow on, and he's going to be able to pick that up. So good job by Volibear. I don't approve of how Wukong played that. And we are seeing that he is out of mana, and again, that boils down to him trying to trade, and he doesn't have a flask or anything to really get that mana back.
Right, mana-gated champions are really tricky in lane because there's nothing more frustrating than being crowded away from last hits, not being able to trade it just because of mana. It's very frustrating, and players really have to either figure out a way to sustain their mana or learn how to use their skills so effectively that that's not a concern.
There's a good wording coming out from Sion here. He knows he's pushed. He knows that they need to sort of respond to him in order to keep the Shen sort of relevant and pushing ahead. And so he is warding in preemptive of that, just saying okay, I need to be careful here. I can't afford to go too aggressive.
Sion is just bullying Shen. Shen will come up and throw a blade, poke him a little, and Sion just stands there and returns it plus some. So Even though he's shoved to the tower, Sion is really controlling this lane and bullying Shen.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, sorry, not Sion. Shen has proven that he's not very good at lasting at turret. So noticing a deficiency in the opponent's play and abusing it by saying, "Okay, I'm just going to constantly push you into tower and make you choose between trying to harass me or losing farm." That's a really good decision to force them to make.
Assuming all minions are at full health, there's actually a pattern that you can learn. I believe it's caster minions are turret shot, then you last hit them. And I believe melee minions are turret shot, you hit them, turret shot, and then you get the last hit.
No, it's usually the other way around, actually. 2 turret shots is enough to get melee minions to essentially no health, so you just have to generally last hit them with one final attack. On very, very few mages, it will take a second attack if they have essentially no AD. Whereas caster minions, if you have low AD, obviously Sion doesn't, you would auto-attack, let the turret hit them once, and then auto-attack them again. Keeping in mind that minions can do some damage for you, so oftentimes you'll wait and see how well it's going. So yeah, it's definitely worth practicing that when you pick up a new champion, so that you can say, okay, how do I manage the wave? How do I last hit under turret if I am behind? Because if you're behind and you can't last hit, you're just going to fall further and further behind. Exhaust coming out from Taric lends the Dazzle and the Shatter. Flash comes out from Caitlyn, maintaining rather good safety. Level 6 has not popped, though, from Vayne, whereas the blue team is level 6 on both of them. They don't have mana to re-engage, though, but if I were Vayne, I might have said, okay, well, yes, we want to fight, but why do so before I'm level 6 and I get my rather large power spike? Vayne's level 6 is actually pretty potent.
Vayne hits 6 now, going in on Nami. Nami is staying close to her ADC. Dazzle goes down onto Caitlyn. Caitlyn's poking. She has Ignite. Vayne pops barrier, and it looks like she's going to escape. Shen comes in, stands united onto Akali. I'm not sure if that was to prevent an execute or what, and it looks like he's just returning top. I feel like they could have come through lane and had a 4-man attack on blue team, who had just wasted all their cooldowns.
Yeah, Nami just randomly ulted under a tower when Caitlyn has no mana. I don't know what she was thinking there. It's possible they were trying to communicate and set up some play, but yes, it's a low-ish cooldown from a support standpoint, but it's a really key cooldown. If you don't have, she doesn't have mana, and if you don't have your ult, well, what are you doing if a gank shows up?
Right. One of the things you really have to consider is, what is my end game? When I use a Nami ult, why am I doing this? Am I doing it so that we can get a double kill under tower? If so, do we have the resources to do this? And that sort of decision making is a skill that takes time to pick up, but once you learn it, you'll find that you just get more results.
Exactly, and a lot of the, oh my god, elo hell, I can't carry out, it boils down to just poor decision making and communication. You can get some really terrible teams, and yes, half the time they won't listen to you, half the time you're going to get trolled, whatever. But if you are having consistently good decision-making, you are going to absolutely dominate those games, because people are in bronze because they either are a troll themselves, they rage, and then, again, aren't trying, or they just don't have good decision-making. Or, again, like bouncing between champions, that I would say also boils down to poor decision-making. It's really just knowing what to do and when to do it.
Nami right now is, she clearly has a goal in mind. She wants Caitlyn to be able to just poop on Vayne and Taric under turret.
We have level 6 Akali coming down. Stun comes out from Taric. Flash comes out from Nami. Again, we saw earlier with the ult being down, all the mana being down, Vayne ends up having to flash, but does pick up the kill in the long run. Again, that's what we're saying, where you're wasting all of your resources, you're wasting your cooldowns, and what are you going to do when a gank comes down? Yes, Akali's behind, but she's still a force. She is going to do damage if she gets up into your lane.
Valiant attempt by Nami to escape with the bubble and lead it into the trap. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. Bullet Bear flashes, flips Vayne. It looks like Vayne is going to go down. So right now, Blue does have a bit of a lead on bot, and Sion is just stomping top ridiculously hard, and Akali just cannot help Shen against the force that is Sion.
Yeah, it's just too beefy at this point and has way too much lifesteal. Akali is here now, though. And they are, of course, going to go down. As Sion, he's just playing a little too aggressively. He's doing fantastic. He's landing a lot of damage. He's definitely winning the lane. But you have to temper your aggression versus the risk.
Also,
Go ahead.
like I said, what's your end game? If Sion intentionally suicided to draw the attention of their top lane and their jungle, so for instance, bot lane could shove a turret, take dragon, that's one thing. But he just died in the hopes that he would get a kill on Shen, who's already died a few times, so he's not even worth that much, comparatively.
I also have a second concern here. Wukong is going full tank as mid-Wu. Personally, I would be rushing out a Hydra. Because as a mid lane Wukong, you are there to land a really quick, deadly combo on your opponent and to show up for ganks, for essentially to finish off kills as they run away. And so, as Wukong, you need to be playing really aggressively and you need to be building damage as a mid laner. Top Wukong, yeah, he does have to build pretty beefy, but mid, not so much.
Right, I understand why Wukong would make that decision. You have a Xerath who's just poking you from long distance, and I understand saying, I want to survive. This is extremely scary to get hit with this combo. I'm going to go tank. But again, what is your end game? Will that really help you beyond surviving a Xerath combo, which is largely skill shot based anyway?
Personally, on Wukong, I would have started Flask, and then first backup probably would have bought 3 longswords.
Volibear clearing some wards on bot, not going to be able to come in for the gank, but it's just showing space. Sion is still being aggressive top.
Wukong looks to be going down bot lane now. They're going to catch Akali out a little bit. The flash was not needed. Bot lane not responding to this, though. Nami needs to ult across that. There it is. A little bit late, but still works out perfect. Kill goes over to Caitlyn with a headshot. Volibear may be able to... Nope, flash comes out. I was going to say that they may be able to get that, but not quite. Worth noting there, Wukong used his clone and then stayed in range of the tower. Tower gives true sight, so you're not actually going to be invisible and it's not going to break aggro. Volibear, good choice now, taking over the enemy blue buff, stealing that away. Once you get an advantage, you really do need to push it. So he's taking that blue buff. Looks like bot lane's pushing into the tower. Might not get the tower, but they're at least going to be able to do a lot of damage to it. And then I would expect them to take dragon as well. Same thing with top lane Sion. He's landing a lot of damage, but he's kind of just tanking tower. Ult comes out from Shen. Akali is here as well. So now he's 1v3 with very low health.
So Sion is engaging in a strategy called Putin, which came from Dominion, actually. A player named Poot would play Singed, and instead of attacking towers, would farm minions between the towers and draw attention so his team could pick up other points. And then Singed was the champion who brought Putin to the Rift. And that's what Sion is doing. He's farming past tower, he's picking up kills, and he's drawing a lot of attention, a lot of aggro. But his team isn't really taking advantage of that extreme advantage he's giving them. They aren't pushing, they aren't taking dragon. I mean, they're ahead, but with Sion's strategy, they're not all on the same page.
It's true, and also he's going too aggressive. Like the fight versus Shen, he got Shen to about 100 health, and then walked into tower and took 3 shots. He didn't have any hope of getting to Shen, but he's just taking a lot of extra damage, and then when the team eventually does collapse, which you know is going to happen, you have no health, you can't fight them. And he's done that 2 or 3 times, where he's just tanking so many tower shots for no real reason.
Right, and with a team like Caitlyn, Volibear, so on, you should be able to siege points, take objectives, but instead they're just stretching out laning phase. So Sion is being aggressive, and there's not much payoff, which is really dangerous when the other team has a Vayne.
For sure, and Vayne is actually keeping up in CS reasonably well. She's at 98 to Caitlyn's 110. You expect Vayne to be down farm versus a Caitlyn, but it's not a significant amount. It's like 11 CS right now. That's not that big of an advantage for Caitlyn.
Right, with Caitlyn needs to stomp Vayne into the ground.
Oh, they get baited into a fight here. Volibear hiding in the bush. Exhaust goes down. Good bubble coming out from Nami. Another kill over to Caitlyn. And flip goes on to Taric. Caitlyn needs to be auto-attacking a little bit better. She wasn't quite orb walking properly. It doesn't matter because she is able to get the kill. But in terms of efficiency, safety, and just general mechanics, she should have been moving up with each auto-attack to make sure that there was no possible chance of Taric escaping her.
If I were blue team right now, I would be going for Dragon. Dragon is an objective that gives a global reward. It respawns every 6 minutes, gets a kill under tower, which is great, but Dragon is just such a huge objective, and they're just leaving it there.
No, that was actually a perfect choice by blue team because Volibear was able to draw all aggro onto himself. They're able to just absolutely pound in on both of the people sitting in tower, pick up a double kill. Volibear is still safe, and they're going to get 2 towers from it. Like, I would fully expect them to take the second tower.
You're absolutely right. I didn't expect that play to be so successful when they first dove, but yeah, that really got pulled off.
Yeah, see, now they can Dragon. They need to ward as they go, and they seem to be doing that, so really good decision-making on their part. They have 4 people to do Dragon, and no one is really going to be able to defend it from purple team. So that's completely free objective. Good choice. I would then expect all 4 of them to cycle bot lane and take another free tower, while Sion does his split push proxy farming top.
Right. There's some excellent, blue team isn't quite on the same page, but they are communicating. They are moving together. You know, their strategies are a little too ambitious, but if that's your worst problem, then you're doing quite well.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Wukong is using his decoy to farm. I don't understand it. You don't want to use it unless it's a hard escape. It's like trying to use Ezreal E to farm. You kind of want it up at all times, because it's your split-second oh shit button. Kali going down top lane, 1v... Oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong team there. It's 3v1 onto Sion, same as before. And they didn't take the bot tower. That's what I was saying, they should have been focusing that. They did take it in the long run, but they could have done it a little bit earlier. Also, again, they're taking white now. That's, again, denying resources to purple team and getting more advantage for blue team. They're not losing a single minion for doing so. Oh, wait, sorry, they lost 1 minion because they were a little bit slow.
Blue team's farming is really excellent. Every player is above their opponent in terms of CS, and that is really adding up. They have nearly a 10k gold advantage.
A lot of damage coming into Wukong. The ult is able to bait it out, but then he goes back in. I don't know why he re-engaged there.
I feel like Wukong sees himself as a Galio, and a Mumu, a Malphite, someone who goes in and has cooldown spawn on him, and ults, and wins the fight, when really he needs to stay in the fight long enough to dish out some damage, especially as a mid laner.
Yeah, and Wukong's ult is, I believe, something like 480% AD scaling. Like, his ult is absolutely insane. And that's why you play him mid, where you can justify building damage. And so you need to be going in at full health and landing your ult immediately. Alright, so Caitlyn picking up a lot of kills here. Great job on blue side. They're just catching people out, and purple team is collapsing under that pressure. They're splitting and running. And as a result, they're able to just follow in and pick up kill after kill after kill.
Sion is proving to be a really attractive target. He just runs at the enemy, he has the axe, he's chopping, and that'll they blow cooldowns on him, they're focusing him, and Caitlyn can just come in and mop up.
Completely agree. More counter jungling coming out from Volibear. He's now taking away the red buff.
Akali sees what's happening, but Sion is protecting his buddy, and there's not much she can do. Shen is coming in, but I don't believe they'll be able to pick up a kill off this.
All 3 of them could be able to combine in. Nope, they don't block the Caitlyn ult, so unfortunately they go on to the carries immediately. But purple team was coming in. I think they should have focused CC there, blocked this skill from hitting Akali while Akali's being her big manly target that she is. And then they could have comboed them one at a time.
Right now, Vayne is the great hope for Purple Team, and we see this in workshop games a lot. She's a very strong champion with great mechanics. You can do amazing plays on her. But with Season 4, it's a lot harder for a single player to really pull a losing team out of the fire. And Vayne has gotten some nerfs. AD carries have gotten some nerfs, so Purple Team is in a bit of a pickle here, and relying on
Yeah.
Vayne is enough.
And this is the late game Scion, where it's not necessarily late game yet, but he has 1 or 2 items. Therefore, if he's allowed to auto attack, he wins that fight. You cannot kill him. He lifesteals more than the damage he takes. Good job this time deciding not to fight. Every time I look at Scion, he keeps trying to fight 1v3. And yeah, as much damage as he does and as much lifesteal as he has, you still want to be fighting 1v1 or even 1v2. You do not 1v3 or 4 or 5.
If you're doing a 1v5, you have the rest of your team taking objectives. So
Exactly.
just doing it for the heck of it is not enough. Wukong is diving Vayne. She gets the condemn off. Taric is coming. It looks like she's going to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and this is what we see every time with Wukong. He just seems... He's really, really passive, and then by the time he finally decides to be aggressive, it's too late. Or it's too much for him to handle, at least.
It's difficult to, say for sure, as I'm not in this game, but I feel like these are plays powered by anxiety, He knows he's behind, he knows he's made mistakes, and he sees what seems like a good opportunity that if he pulls it off, he'll get back in the game. And you don't get back in the game through huge plays, you don't get back in the game through ambitious dives, you get back in the game through a slow, steady progression.
Completely agreed. Smart plays win games. Aggressive YOLO plays lose games.
Shen is pushing top. We have blue team moving up to stop him. He flashes and dashes. We'll see if that's enough to save him. Bubble goes down, so it looks like he will be dying to Kate. Actually, Scion gets the kill, but very well played by blue team.
Alright, Wukong caught again. Uses his ult to just escape. And again, this is what I'm saying, where it has crazy scaling. You need your team in position, and you initiate with it. You just E on ult immediately, and anyone who tries to come in and deal damage to you as a lower range champion is gonna just kind of get melted. A lot of damage coming out from blue team here. And unfortunately, Wukong's ult is down now. This would be the perfect opportunity to use it.
Right, considering your end game with every large cooldown is important. If you escape a death, but you lose like a team fight or two because you don't have that killer cooldown, that wasn't the right choice to make.
Agreed, yes. Scion could have broken Turret Aggro a little bit earlier. I think he was just trying to get the kill, though. Never mind. The other team still has long enough respawn timers. I was gonna say, like, oh, if they respawn home guarded to him, they could have killed him, but no, that wouldn't happen. There are a couple pings coming out onto Baron now. I'm assuming they're gonna heal up and then go do it. I would actually expect that Scion could solo it at this point.
Wukong flashes over the wall. He's escaped, but he's sticking around, and I'm not sure, again, what is his endgame?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the point of that was.
It seems like he was spamming laugh, which is not...
I'm assuming he was trying to distract them from Baron. That's the only possible use I could think of that.
And blue team cannot take Baron. They don't have Scion, they don't have Wukong, so they aren't able to pick it up. Purple team might be moving in to see if they can take it. Nope, they're just warding, it seems like.
Yeah, Vayne could do it very quickly. She has Blade of the Ruined King and Static Shiv and Berserker's Greaves. That's a lot of attack speed to proc her W over and over and over again. It only does 200 damage versus monsters, but that's still it's enough. And Blade of the Ruined King does 60.
Scion picks up Dragon while Purple team picks up a kill on Caitlyn. We'll see whether they take this as an opportunity to do Baron. It doesn't seem like it as
Yeah, Vayne should have moved down right away. I think they're concerned, though, that Sion is split pushing in bot lane. By the time they finish Baron, he would probably be on their inhib already. Like, he's already moving up towards it. He's going to be able to kill that tower very quickly. With Caitlyn dead, though, they need to force something. Whether that's a tower, whether that's Baron, that's up to them.
Right, we've criticized Sion's ambition, but I think ultimately I will have to name him as Blue Team's MVP, as he's not executing the ideas properly, but he has an excellent awareness of distracting from objectives, of taking towers, of pulling Blue Team up over and over again, and it's just really wearing away on Purple Team over time.
Mm-hmm. Next time I play a normal or a smurf, I'm going to have to play Wukong mid. I haven't played it in so long, and it's so much fun.
Well, if you ever need a Bronze 3 account with all champs and most runes, let me know.
Great Blind Bubble actually does get the the Akali. Not really going to turn into anything, though.
Nami, once she's out of lane, she is actually playing team fights extremely well. She's dropping bubbles. She's moving with her carry. You know, she's doing. She might be a little slow here and there, but she's really doing everything right. See, she's sticking on Caitlyn when she knows that Akali is lurking nearby, and she's protecting her carry above all else.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I would expect this turret to go down very, very quickly. Caitlyn needs to constantly poke away at it. Instead, it seems like they just want to dive. That's fine. They're pretty far ahead. But again, Wukong ult down. Wukong's ult is his team fight. He can duel without it, but without it in a team fight, you're going to be pretty useless.
Wukong ult is also, not exactly, but it's very similar to Zac ult. And, you know, they're both extremely strong initiation tools that should be saved as initiation and team fight tools. Use them as escape tools or to polish someone off. I'm really not a fan of.
Exactly.
Purple is pinging Baron. I believe they think Blue Team is there.
Sion lands onto Vayne. Volibear flips it in, and it looks like Volibear is actually going to go down. Good block coming out, keeping Vayne alive. Vayne getting a little bit of damage onto Sion, but as you can see, Sion is healing up any damage they throw at him at this point. He has his Infinity Edge at this point. He has his Hydra. He is going to absolutely wreck these fights.
Excellent play by Vayne, though. She sees Sion on her. Sion is chunking her. A lot of players would go, well, I'm dead, and, you know, kind of hold their head in their hands. Vayne condemns them away, gets underneath the tower, moves behind her team when she sees the Caitlyn ult goes down, and just does not give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely amazing damage coming out from Sion. Top inhib is back up. I would have suggested he go take that, but instead he's... Oh no, he's just clearing red buff because it's not actually spawned. They never fully cleared it. If you are planning to do some counter jungling, like you're not really worried about Akali, oh no, Akali got double buffs as a jungler, you're probably not terrified of that. So if I were them, I would have cleared the jungle, got the timer on it, and then just constantly taken it every time it spawned.
Sion is shoving the naked inhib up on top. Wukong's joining him. The rest of the blue team is sort of scattered around their jungle, so I don't believe Wukong is moving with a plan so much as he's following Sion, who he recognizes as getting stuff done.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that the best play at this point is if they ever engage onto Sion, or Sion gets in a position where there's multiple people focusing him, which is happening quite often, Wukong needs to be near enough to that he can ult. So you're knocking up and dealing a large amount of damage to the people right next to Sion, and basically you're acting as his peel then, as well as his damage. Sion, his ult actually heals people around him for the damage he does. So you're going to transform both players into a huge tanky beast just through the sustain, as well as dealing insane amounts of damage.
Teams are skirmishing. Nami ult goes down. I don't believe they'll be able to capitalize on it, though. Sion is just pushing top all day long. He's not really engaging in team fights, and he doesn't need to, but Vayne is going in on him. Here we see blue team actually capitalizing on Sion pulled the entire team top, and so Caitlyn is tanking the turret, sieging it down. I don't believe she'll be able to polish it off though.
Yeah, I would have suggested Wukong stay with Sion there because, as you saw, they all grouped right around him. If Wukong was as part of that, they then have to split their focus a little bit. You have AoE CC going down. You have a clone to act as a third target to split focus. And you're going to be able to keep the carries that are doing the damage and not staying in melee range. You're going to be able to keep them off of Sion while he's just healing back up. Unfortunately, though, if Sion is CC chained, he can't hit anyone to heal back up and just dies almost instantly.
Right, Sion is clearly not expecting to get a pentakill. He's just trying to delay them. But since his sustain is all tied up in lifesteal, and we have a Taric, we have a Shen, we have a Xerath, he can't always be, you know, a brick wall distraction as he wants to be.
No, if played properly, Wukong and Sion could have taken at least 2 or 3 people with them while the rest of their team pushed mid. Wukong wasn't needed to push mid.
Wukong is soloing Dragon right now. Purple team is looking at either contesting or trying to take Baron stealthily.
In the meantime, Purple team's roaming over towards Baron. I don't think they want to do it. If they're, as we've mentioned so many times, the AoE combo between Nami, Wukong, all of that is going to be pretty deadly. If you're in Baron pit, what do you think is going to happen if they show up in alt?
Purple seems to know that Wukong is bot, and they're just going in for Baron regardless. But blue team is collapsing in on them. They don't have Sion and they don't have Wukong, but with Baron damage and the tight space, that might not matter.
Yeah, in this case, Akali immediately dies. Shen's stuck there just auto-attacking. Looks like he's not really going to be able to do anything. There's the Wukong ult coming out. Good job there. He's going to be able... Oh, he actually stopped chasing. He is able to flash and kill it. He shouldn't have needed to flash, though. He started walking the wrong way. So they now have Baron, they have 4 people down, and they have top inhib. I would expect that they would go mid, take that inhib, and then maybe even bot inhib. They could tank that up pretty darn easy.
Sion is just hanging around the base. He's killing mans, healing up. He's not taking anything. He's just standing there as a challenge.
He was actually proxying the wave there so that it wouldn't make it to turret. That way all of the minions' damage was focused on the turret itself.
Ah, okay, so this Sion is clearly really aware of minion control and wave control and such.
Yeah, there goes the turret. They should be able to end right now if they don't get re-engaged on immediately. Nami gonna go down. Volibear tanking a huge amount of damage. Now Wukong down. Sion gets in range though, picks off immediately the Vayne. Shen actually right in Volibear's face. Volibear passive is ticking though, so Caitlyn's going to get a lot of damage onto him. And at this point, this should be game.
Sion just chasing Xerath down. I don't even believe expecting to kill him, just keeping Caitlyn safe so she can get the Nexus.
Sion goes down to the fountain, and inhib goes down. Or not the inhib, the Nexus goes down.
So really, interesting game to watch. A lot of strategies we don't see normally in workshops. We had Sion putting top. You know, we had a bot lane that Vayne really made the most out of, considering it was a hard counter. Wukong mid kind of got bullied around and pushed around by Xerath, but managed to pull it out very late game.
In terms of final builds, it looks like Wukong... okay, so he's rushing into a Guardian Angel. A Guardian Angel is really, really good on Wukong. That being said, he could have finished up his Brutalizer into a Black Cleaver to make Caitlyn and Sion even more effective. He could have built a Last Whisper. He could have built a Bloodthirster for even more lifesteal and huge AD bonuses. or he could have built a Trinity. There's just so many options of items that he could have built, and I think Guardian Angel was a little bit premature. We had some complaints about how he was playing the decision making and everything, but overall, I don't have any huge complaints. He did okay. Volibear, actually, I didn't actually realize that he was that fed, 8-1-13, so obviously doing really, really well there. I like his item builds, pretty standard. Spirit Visage looking to build into what's probably a, oh god, I'm drawing, Warmogs. Warmogs, that's what it's called. Probably building into a Warmogs, everything's standard about his build. Nami, interesting, actually went for Twin Shadows and a Crucible. I have no real complaints with that. Crystal Scepter, though. I had the same complaint with you last game, where you're building a CC component for your skills when all of your skills are already CC. The only exception to that, obviously, being the heal bounce. But you're going to have your E on people already, and then your Q and Alt are already a knock-up, slow, stun sort of a setup. So I think that the Crystal Scepter is a little bit of a waste there. She could have gone for... Hourglass wouldn't have actually been a bad idea. Hourglass would have worked. She could have gone for even more utility through like an Aegis / Locket. I actually would have really liked to see that, to just get that little bit of extra tanky bonus if they ever did get engaged on, just from a general standpoint. But overall, no real complaints there. Caitlyn, fine build except Boots of Mobility. I don't know why she had that. I don't think she had that during the game, so it's possible she sold and bought right at the end. Scion, pretty standard build in terms of AD Scion. Worked really, really well for him. As you mentioned, he had good map pressure, where you are becoming such a large objective, essentially, for the enemy team to shut down, that the rest of your team just kind of gets free reign of the map. So good job there. A couple misplays in just how aggressive he was playing, how balls to the wall he was, and possibly some issues with communication and how he was setting up those plays. Overall, though, really good job. And as Requine said, I would also agree that he was probably MVP in that game, of just how much pressure he had on the outcome. Akali, I don't like Jungle Akali. It didn't work out well. We had the issues with decision making, where she tried to duel a level 3 Volibear at level 2. I believe she was also significantly down health, and Volibear had red. It was just a bad idea. In terms of build, she has Spectral Wraith and Gunblade. That's a lot of sustain, not a lot of damage. Like, Gunblade is fine. It's actually pretty decent on Akali still, but I think there could have been better items. I wouldn't have actually minded seeing a Rylai's on Akali, just to add a little bit of a CC component so that you're showing up for ganks and quick kills. The Rylai slow is going to be very consistent. You're going to be pretty tanky still. You're going to have decent damage, and you're just going to be able to chase down those kills a little bit more effectively, as well as having better escape in like jungle skirmishes. Taric, no real complaint with his build. It's pretty standard in terms of Taric, just lots of armor, and of course the Talisman of Ascension. Vayne, no complaints, really standard. I'm assuming she would have built into a Guardian Angel next, or a Last Whisper next. Either way, both those items would fill up the next 2 slots. Good job. Shen got bullied around in lane, but in terms of his build, it's fine. I would have liked to see a Sunfire Cape on him. Warmogs is generally best once you already have a lot of other health sources, and it looks like he was building Warmogs and then Randuins. I would have done Sunfire, Randuins, then Warmogs if I was going for like a full health tanky sort of a build. I'm assuming, though, that he sort of panicked and wanted the extra armor to deal with the Scion who was bullying him around. That being said, though, I still think it would have been best to go Sunfire, Randuins, and then Warmogs. Xerath, his build is fine. I would have expected to see an early Chalice, though, so that he wouldn't have any mana issues and could constantly shove and constantly poke. Deathcap is usually best after you have about 300-ish AP, although Xerath does have a lot of Magic Pen built into his kit. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but I know that it is there. So I'm fine with him having built Deathcap before Void Staff, but I would have liked to see probably an Athene, so that more cooldowns, more mana, and just constantly poking away with more damage. Requine, would you like to go over anything before I start the next game?
I just want to give props to both of the supports. Both of our supports players stuck with their carries. They both had impact on the game. Nami, like we said, and during laning phase was a little bit aimless, was using skills for the sake of using skills. But during team fights was just spot on with ults and bubbles, while Tarek really enabled Vayne to survive a rough laning phase and to have as much impact as she did later on.
Agreed, yes.